People don't want to sacrifice. They want instant gratification. Welcome back to In Search of Excellence Island Style. He is an icon in the real estate industry, not just here, but a leader across the nation, Kalama Kim.
You leverage your strengths and what you're good at. You don't get distracted with everything. You really focus in. We support people in all different styles of how they run their business. We can't just do it one way and say, all of you are going to be social media champions.
If you suck at one place, you're going to suck at another place. Where you're planted is where you grow.
There is a path for everyone. We just have to find it, and we have to care about the people enough to make sure that happens. It's not about the transaction now. It's about the journey to get people there.
Welcome to In Search of Excellence Island Style, powered by the Broker Mortgage Experts. This podcast highlights leaders raising the standard through consistent, values-driven leadership. Lived with aloha.
You were on the National Association of Realtors, president of the Hawaii Association of Realtors, president of Honolulu Board of Realtors. In your previous life, Coldwell Banker, the largest realtor company in the state. And so much experience here, and you're local. You grew up on the windward side, went to Kamehameha Schools, and then you went over to my neck of the woods, over in the Bay Area, USF, a Dawn. So, wait, you graduated from high school in what, 87?
That's right.
Man, you and I are the same.
And that was the 100th graduating class at Kamehameha.
Oh, man.
But people get confused, and they think I'm 100. I'm not. Graduated 87.
Wow. Okay. And so when did you graduate from USF?
91.
And then when you graduated, did you come back to Hawaii or?
I didn't, because I had dreams of grandeur. I was a tennis player, played tennis at USF, played tennis here in high school. So I decided to hit the satellite tour to get points to get onto the world tour. I got no points.
You had no points.
So after a little less than a year, parents said, "You got to come home. We can't afford this."
Well, you are, again, with all the positions you've had, you have really seen the real estate market in Hawaii grow. I was just looking at, since 2016 in Kailua, real estate prices have actually doubled, and they're in Kaneohe is up 68% or something like that. So still pretty good, but not astronomical like Kailua. So you grew up there in the windward side. It's such a grounded sense of community, and then obviously you go to Kamehameha Schools. How did that shape you in leading other people and really in your roles, various roles that you've had in the industry?
Interesting question. I think every portion of our life, something happens to help us shape who we are. For me, I'm a leader. I've been in leadership for a very long time. It started when I was really young. I was always that person in our friend group that said, let's go bowling or let's go do this. Tennis was a big part of it too, being in part of sports. My parents, they led their friend group. So it was almost ingrained into me. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to Kamehameha, just the same thing with the tennis team there.
So sports really kind of helped you to develop as a leader, because not only are you leading other people, the first person you have to lead is yourself. And to go to play USF, collegiate, and then attempt to play pros, there's some discipline involved. There's a lot of tennis players. Just like people think, oh, golf is. I love to golf, not any good, but there are so many good golfers. Just to get to that next level, it takes so much commitment. Is there anything where that happened to you when you were younger that helped you realize that I'm going to be a leader? Whatever it is I do, I'm going to be a leader.
Yeah, there's a few things that happened along the way. I think we'll go back to tennis again. When I first got pretty good at tennis and 12, 14 years old, then everybody else that's coming up looks up to you. And so that became part of that leader group. And then in college, the same thing happens there. But the big turning event for me professionally was when I worked at Bank of America. And when I was 25, they made me a branch manager of a branch. And that's when you get ingrained into reading books about leadership, and then finding a mentor that's going to help you. And that really shaped my leadership.
So speaking of banking, you made the transition. What caused you to make the transition from banking to real estate?
That's a good story. I was forced. I worked for a bank called Citibank. I was running their retail division. That means their branches, their retail sales. And they got taken over by Central Pacific Bank, and it was what they call a hostile takeover. They're buying all their stock and trying to take over the company. Yeah. And they did successfully. And then when you have one person at the company that they bought that's ahead of this division, and then their company, they keep their person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice. I got a transition period, but I had to find something else. And my boss and mentor back there said, "Hey, we're vested into this real estate company. You'd be good in real estate. Why don't you jump into that?"
Now, what year was that? Did you go from banking to real estate?
2004.
Oh, okay. So it's starting to kick off. So you came into real estate as a realtor right when the market was really taking off. What was it like then? Were those the good old days?
Indescribable. It was good and not good. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And not knowing anything else, this is easy. But I'll tell you, when 2005 happened, and we're seeing year over year 20% growth in price. When 2005 happened, and agents were actually turning down buyers and saying at an open houses, they walk in and say, "Sorry, I don't have time for any more buyers." Because you're showing a lot of property, you're getting beaten on offers, and you just have so many clients to work with, and the market just exploded. So back then, very exciting. People did very well.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of like, right after COVID, too. You saw, lines of people trying to get into one house. It's kind of like people trying to rent a home now.
Yeah.
It's harder. I always say it's hard to buy a home. It's even harder to rent a home.
Oh, I agree.
And, you have a house, a 3-bedroom, and you're renting it out. Man, you got a line down the street of people who need a place to live, and they're very selective. But so how did that shape you as a realtor? And when did you get into leadership in real estate?
I love that question because I'm a believer that you're kind of shaped in real estate based on when you started. If you start in a really slow market, you build that discipline that you talked about right away. If you start in a hot market, you do well right away, but then you take shortcuts pretty fast. And you have to relearn it to get through the next market. So for me, I got into management right away because that was my background. So right after I got into real estate. And I'll tell you a story that I thought was funny that tells you the difference between like banking and real estate. So they asked me to do, based on my background, do a business planning session. Crowded room. And then people started getting up and leaving, like 10 minutes in, 30 minutes in. And banking, when you're the boss, no one gets up and leaves your meeting. It was crazy. Then I realized these are all independent contractors. If I don't say something that resonates with them, or they've heard it before, they're out of here. They're busy.
Before cell phones too, and they could just kind of go start scrolling on you.
Well, there are cell phones. They just look different.
Yeah. Blackberries.
Yeah. Blackberries.
I had a Blackberry 2005, I think 2006. So yeah, awesome. So you got into management pretty quickly, and 2005, everything's hopping. Compare 2005 to COVID, and people say, "Oh, I wish it was like it was back in 2021, 2020, 2021." And personally, as a loan officer, we did really well, but it was stressful. It was great if you were a buyer. It was great. Actually, it was great if you were a seller. It was great if you were lucky enough to get your offer accepted as a buyer. But what about markets? And what goes around comes around. We'll get to that market again someday. But why is that? We don't want that market right now.
We don't have the affordability right now, so I don't even think the market would come back until affordability looks better. When you compare that market, which we call the subprime market, that really the lending exploded, the demand on that side, compared to the post-COVID market. Two different reasons that caused that. And one big difference is we had more inventory back in 2004 to 2007. So all that demand that was created was able to eat up the inventory. In post-COVID 2021, 2020, we had very little inventory, like less than 500 homes on the market for 1.1 million people.
Yeah.
So you had craziness in 2005, but you didn't have as many offers coming on every. You might have 6 or 7, but you didn't have 40.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference because you have 40 buyers or 39 buyers are disheartened. We only had like 6 or 7 in 2005. So it's a little bit more balanced, but still a lot of business.
Well, and we're never going to have enough inventory in Hawaii. Across the nation, I was just reading, there's a Matter of fact, I don't know if you listen to Patrick Bet David. He's an influencer, conservative guy. He was talking yesterday. This is a terrible time to be a realtor, and I love that because it's only terrible if you're not motivated, if you're not good, and people are going to be good, no matter what industry you put them in, if they have the right mindset, I think, and obviously the right mentorship. But 10 million shortfall in homes for the nation. Here, we're never going to catch up.
Yeah.
And rates, they'll come down, but they aren't going to come down to the twos unless something catastrophic happens. I don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But before COVID, we were right in the high threes, low fours, and we had almost 3,000 homes on the market right before COVID, and we're now right around the same, right around 3,000. As you were in charge at Coldwell Banker, I remember going into your office and just seeing all of these amazing teams. Now, as a leader, and you're leading Hawaii Modern Realty now, and you have some amazing realtors there. What makes you say, I'm going to invest in this person, in this realtor or this realtor team, and put forth the effort to help them grow? You do it for everybody, but let's face it, some people, they got it. And what is that and what do you see that kind of helps you say, I'm going to help this client out or this realtor out?
I get that question from new licensees coming to business all the time. What will make them successful? And if they're going to be successful, of course, you're going to put more resources there. If you start at the very basic, you got to show up. And I don't mean just show up at the office. I mean, you got to show up for things. You got to be part of engaging in the industry. Go look at properties as much as you can. And then the other basic part is you don't have any clients unless you interact with people. And nowadays, you can interact in so many different ways. You can interact digitally on your phone, social media. In person is still great with the phone. So people that are willing to interact, people that are willing to show up, that means they have the discipline to do those things. Those are the ones you look at and go, it may take some time, but they're going to make it.
Yeah. I see the same thing with lenders. What makes someone successful? They're out there. They're going to realtor events. They're going to open houses. They're going to brokers' opens. They use that thing called a phone, not just to surf, but to talk to people. I mean, that is the oldest trick in the book, but it is the ultimate. At the end of the day, it's the most effective form of communication is the phone. Yeah. And for me, usually we text, but you got to have the conversation, and you can't. Nobody likes no, but you got to get used to it, and you can't give up. You can't give up. Are you a football fan?
Oh yeah.
So I'm a huge 49ers fan.
I'm the opposite.
You're Seahawks?
I'm the one the team that loses all the time, but they used to be on the other side of the bay. I'm a Raiders fan.
Oh, Raiders fan. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Raiders of the 70s I remember all the whole team because my dad's side of the family, they were diehard Raider fans. But then my stepfather's family, the one who raised me, they were all 49ers fans. And that was like right when, right in the early 80s. But Ronnie Lott's my favorite football player.
Oh, he's amazing.
And he was a Raider too.
Yeah, he played for both teams.
Yep. And he was ferocious. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get knocked down, but I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna knock you in your teeth. I'm gonna knock your teeth out. And that was just it. You're not gonna make every tackle. You're not gonna block every pass, but you get up and you go next play and you go at it just as hard the next time. Right? And that's my favorite football player.
I had a story to tag on to that. USF.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the Niners and Raiders players, they got to get their degree after, right? Because they go on the draft early, and so I have some of them in my classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ronnie Lott, Keenan Turner.
Yeah.
Old defensive end. They're mellow, super mellow, and reminded me that they're turning it on with that discipline, with that focus when they're in the game. But other than that, they're doing the work just like they're going to school.
Yeah, that's funny. They went back to school. I met Ronnie Lott a couple times. He actually came to my school, and I was a school president, and we got him to speak. And it was him and Tim McCarry, who was a young football player, cornerback, and he didn't have the eloquence in speaking. He was a young kid still, and there were some kids in the stands. They were chirping, and Ronnie Lott just jumps up and he's like, "Hey, listen to this guy, because you know what? If you don't, you're going to end up he just got in there, and then everybody shut up and listened." He's a super intense guy. Yeah. So going back to the discipline, what would you say to somebody who is just coming into the industry? We talked a little bit about it, but what else? What are is it technology? What is kind of the secret sauce? And you have you have several really great agents on your team now, and I love working with the realtors over at Hawaii Modern Realty. What's making them stand out right now? Because again, we talk, Patrick Bet David, this is a terrible time to be a realtor. No, it's a terrible time to be a realtor if you suck. But there are a lot of realtors who are doing well. What are your realtors doing well?
Let me start by saying when the market changed, most realtors, and I watch my realtors go through this pain because the market in 1 month, I call it the great buyer's strike of September 2022. In 1 month, the market dropped in market volume by 57%.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. And so watching them go through that pain and seeing them go through the journey of changing how they do business and getting back to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So it's the ones that do the fundamentals that are reaching out, talking to their network, their sphere of influence, networking and going out, getting out of their house. When coming out of COVID, people stayed in their house. That has a change in behavior. And then using the skill and knowledge that the experienced agents already had to convert these people that were in the market. Those are the ones that still shine now. They're the ones that are reaching out first to their friends, family. Then they're getting out and networking. Then you have your niches. You do have social media niches. What people think is social media is this magic, but there's very few people that actually strategically get business from social media. Yep. Very few.
Yep.
What they usually do is it combines with their sphere of influence, and that's how they get the business. Can I mention one more thing? It's a tangent. You had mentioned that podcasters said that it's the worst time to be a realtor. I think otherwise, just like you, not only because you have to build a discipline, but it's changing right now, which means opportunity, not small change, massive change. AI is changing.
Yes.
Your business, and our businesses are kind of combined together. And so people have to figure it out now and quickly to capitalize on it. Otherwise, they're going to stay at a lower level.
I always say, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, sharpening the sword. You have to always sharpen the sword. And you're right, AI. And you just did a social media, a reel, and you announced, this is my avatar. Mm-hmm. And if you had not have said that, I would not have known. It looked great. It looks like you. It sounds like you. And I know the program you use, HeyGen. It's a great and there are a lot of good programs out there. You don't need them all. You just need one, and then you need to use it and continue to use it. So,
exactly.
100%. So, again, you've been a leader in very successful companies, and now with Hawaii Modern Realty. We talk about building Ohana as one of the tenets of excellence. How do you build Ohana? Like, why is somebody, and I know, I don't want to say everybody wants to work with you, but you're like the Pied Piper for the best realtors on the island. They want to work with you. How do you build Ohana at Hawaii Modern Realty, and why is Hawaii Modern Realty just such a great place to work?
It's a great question because it comes down to who we are and the values we have. And I don't mean the company. I don't mean me. I mean all of us, who we are and the values that we have. I found if you're authentic and you truly want to help other people, like part of our mission statement is we improve all we touch. If you live by that, people want to be around you because you're helping each other. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. In the 90s, when I first got into business, I remember one of my mentors, and he was wrong. He said, you got to separate business and your personal life. Well, in real estate, we can't do that. It's combined. The other thing, though, is in today's world, if you really want to build that Ohana, you have to connect at a deeper level. You really do. So you put those together and you start building the Ohana and the extended network, that extended Ohana, so you have relationships throughout the industry, throughout the island. So
let's go a little deeper on that. Like with your realtors, how do you get to know them on another level?
Good question. FaceTime with them is important. I don't mean
not
Facebook FaceTime. I mean sitting down in front of them and through coaching sessions and really finding out about them. I've coaching sessions with agents all the time, and the first thing we do is we figure out where their head is right then. I maybe have a half hour with them. If they're not in the right headspace, then we don't go anywhere else about business. We just talk about what's going on with their world, what's going on with life. It makes a big difference because you start finding out what's going on with their home, what's going on with their family, which is much more important than their business. And then you create that connection. And then you find out where the skills and knowledge lie of each person because of their personal life and skills, and you apply it to the business.
So you get dropped into a struggling brokerage. What's the first one or two things you do to fix that struggling brokerage?
You find out first what the culture is. And that means talking and learning about every individual to figure out what their beliefs are. And then once you know that, then you figure out, all right, if this is a commonality in their culture, which direction should the company go in that it's going to resonate with all of them and then motivate them to move forward. Then you start digging into the layers, and whether it's group meetings or coaching sessions or mentoring or rah-rah sessions, you start layering all of that into it.
Yeah, so it's funny. There's a book, and I think it's called The First 90 Days. And when you come out and you take command or take charge, for the first 90 days, you're just listening.
Yes.
You're asking questions and you're listening. Because you're right, you got to figure out what's the culture, what makes this place go, or where's the breakdown. And if you go in there immediately start changing things, you're just going to mess everything up. So I agree with you 100%. You got to figure out how is this company rotating? What axis is it on?
And I'll tell you how I learned that, by mistake.
Really?
Back in banking, when I took over an area, I managed out, that's what we used to call it, 40% of the direct reports and replaced them with other people, the ones that I thought were my people that followed my way. And the reality is they were doing their way well. I just had to manage them up. And so you learn that, and it probably cost me time.
So actually that kind of gets to my next question is, if you were starting, what is one of the leadership tenets that you have that other people might disagree with? Like things that you've done that maybe, weren't normal or they weren't the status quo.
This one might seem like it is normal. I don't think it is in our business. Lead by example. And what I mean by that, in real estate sales, if you're a broker leader, you're not selling. And if you're leading by example, it's picking up the phone and showing them how to do a FSBO call.
Yeah.
Or an expired visit, or go door knocking as a group, or go on the consultations, listing or buyer consultations with them, model it first, or be there as a silent resource, or to chime in when they want you to chime in. It's leading by example that way, and then leading by example through that other thing that's more important, which is we talked about the vision and mission. We lead that way and people follow.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And so do you do like door knock training with your agents?
It's been a few years, but most of my career we did. And the reason it's been a few years is because I think that Ring doorbell, it makes it a little hard. I say you just look in the Ring doorbell and you talk. And the other thing is, I don't have my training groups. They don't want to door knock as much as they used to. People used to be fine. Now they just want to use the phone.
Yeah, or some of them don't even want to do that. They just want to. They want to text, or they want to go stalk people on social media. Not me. I don't like cold call. In fact, I never cold call. It's one of the things I used to think I was going to have to do in this business is cold calls, but I never do. It's really relying on sphere of influence and relationships. And if somebody refers somebody to me, well, that's not a cold call. There's an expectation of making that connection. So I'm not really surprised anybody, but I don't think I've done a cold call. Jeez,
I haven't in a very long time.
Yeah.
Door knocking, let me go back to door knocking. You made me think of something else. Because cold call, warm call, there's something I call drive-by door knocking. And that's where you just drive around the area you're at and you talk to people outside their house. You actually park the car.
Yeah.
But instead of knocking on the door, whoever's outside their house, in Hawaii, they're always outside their house. The garage is half up and they're watching TV, and there you go, hey, I have a question.
What are you watching?
I'm a realtor. I was looking at your neighborhood.
You got a beer?
Study. Yeah, that comes later. You got to build rapport before you get to that point. But it becomes much more comfortable, both for the person the realtor that's doing the door knocking and for the person there.
Yeah.
You don't get it. You may not get as many houses, but it really becomes natural. Picked up a few listings that way too.
Yeah, and then when you have a listing, like you're walking around the neighborhood. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to go and say, "Hey, I'm not selling anything. You're providing value. Hey, I'm selling this house down the street. If you want to come by, take a look at this home. Tell me what you think, because it's someday you may end up selling. You're not saying, "Hey, I want to be your realtor." Just say, "Hey, you know what? I want to make sure I put the best foot forward for this property." So you go around the neighborhood and I mean, there's so many opportunities, and I see people at open houses, like realtors, who don't like sitting in open houses. And to me, I think that's just the best opportunity because you have a captive audience all around that home. And there's just so many different opportunities. And it's funny, I was actually one of the gentlemen who just joined your brokerage from Florida. He and I, we had coffee last week, and we were talking about saying, he's like, I'm motivated. I can't wait to go. And I'm thinking, this guy's going to be good for the office, man. He's going to be, some old school energy, working hard and doing those old school things which actually still work in the new school.
And he's doing it already.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him doing it every day. A lot of energy, a lot of passion.
So, and we kind of talked about this before. In order to lead by example, leading and doing the right things when nobody is watching. So how do you, Kalama, lead by example?
When no one's watching or anytime?
Yeah. No, but when nobody's, where are your struggles and what are you doing? Like, I could tell right now, we're going to talk about this if you bring it up. And maybe if you don't, how do you lead by example?
I'll tell you that coming out of the pandemic, I'm a believer that everyone decided life balance is better. And I looked it around as a manager leader saying, people aren't working hard like they used to. And that was probably the wrong attitude because then I looked internally and I said, I'm not working hard like I used to. And going through that transition was challenging for me as it is for other people. I think the way I lead by example is now I get back to waking up early. I'm up at 3:45 in the morning.
You're beating me.
Going to yoga, going to workout, making sure I follow my morning routine to get the important things done. So by 10, 11 o'clock, I've done all that kind of stuff so I can meet with people and talk with people the entire day. When I'm meeting with people and talking with people, it's being present, having quality conversations and not having to worry about all that stuff because I got it out.
Right.
Talking about my morning routine. I think that's leading by example, not only for sales, it's for just creating your life.
Well, you work out. I've seen you at Core Power Yoga. We were just talking. You were doing yesterday on camera this pose where you're like holding yourself. Your feet are perpendicular to the. I'm like, I know the Kalama I knew 6 months ago. I saw it 6 months ago in Core Power. Couldn't do that. So you've changed a lot. Speaking of leading by example, people. I can't fast. Like, you're making me feel guilty now. You look like half the man you were before. You've lost how much weight in the last couple of weeks?
16 pounds.
16 pounds. That's impressive. And you're fasting. You're not intermittent fasting. Tell me a little bit about that. I think I'm fascinated. You look great.
Well, it starts with the YouTube videos that start popping up in the Instagram ads and go, shoot, I should try that. I would try.
Well, you're not doing the Tai Chi walking?
No. And I was drawn to it, not because of the weight stuff, because I'm in pretty good shape, but it was more of the mental and the physical. There is the visceral fat that you want to. So I decided I'm gonna do fasting. I started with weekdays, 24-hour fast, but I'm just doing dinner every day, and then weekends just eating. That was the first week. Next couple of days, 24-hour fast. And then now I'm doing a 72-hour fast, which ends lunch tomorrow. And I drink unsweetened tea and coffee, and that's it. And I didn't expect this. When I stepped on the scale, I was blown away. I didn't expect it like this. And I'm productive because I'm not eating. I'm not thinking about eating. I'm just moving, and my mind is really clear.
Well, and food, it impacts your mood, too, different depending on what you eat. Like, some things make you groggy, some you eat a meal, you feel sluggish. So how do you not get the jitters drinking coffee? Do you drink decaf or?
I actually don't drink coffee. I only do it for this because that's the only thing I can have.
Okay.
I would do a pre-workout drink, which is actually way more caffeine.
Yeah.
And that would last me the whole day.
Okay. All right. So you're doing a pre-workout drink now?
No.
Oh, not
I
now.
can't.
It's just tea and water.
Unsweetened tea and water and coffee. Black coffee only.
That's insane. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to finish up. First, let's get a good word from a sponsor. We'll go with Gonzalez Hawaii Vacation Rentals. Midway through today's conversation, we want to thank Gonzalez Hawaii Vacation Rentals, offering exceptional vacation experiences in Hawaii and Annapolis, Maryland. Whether you're waking up to ocean views in the islands or enjoying waterfront charm and sailing culture on the Chesapeake Bay, Gonzalez Hawaii Vacation Rentals delivers comfort, elegance, and unforgettable experiences. If excellence matters in how you live and lead, it should matter in
how you relax. Plan your next escape with Gonzalez Hawaii Vacation Rentals.
We are back at In Search of Excellence Island Style with Kalama Kim from Hawaii Modern Realty, the president. And you just made a big change. You went from a larger company, now you are a locally owned company. And all the news, not just in real estate, but in lending, is mergers and acquisitions. And you got companies like Compass that are buying everybody out. And you could have done that, but you actually chose to go another way. So what do you think is going on with the big companies? What does that mean? And why'd you go small or mid-size?
I think it comes down to what you see in commercials all the time in real estate. Real estate is local. Real estate and local for your realtor to understand the neighborhoods, the market, the trends, and consult clients on that. But for real estate agents and owners of real estate companies and operators, real estate has to be local too, because the whole landscape has shifted. If you take an example of a publicly trading company that is a giant real estate company, they're driven by Wall Street and what their earnings have to be. So they got to react quickly each time for that. We're driven by our clients and our sales team and what's happening here in Hawaii with the lack of inventory. We're engaged. It just feels better.
Yeah.
It feels better to serve.
Well, I tell you, I've seen agents switch companies so many different times, and all they care about is, where are my splits? And I hear that from loan officers too. But I hear that a lot more from realtors. I want better splits. So they'll go to one company, and then they're not satisfied there. And then they go to another company. And then ultimately, sometimes you just end up right at the same company they left. And I always say, if you suck at one place, you're going to suck at another place. That's not going to, where you're planted is where you grow. And with Hawaii Modern Realty, if somebody comes over there, how are you tending the soil? How are you watered? How are you growing agents there?
Each agent does business in a different way. What they really need to do, and I know you're a believer in this, I saw you put something out that you leverage your strengths and what you're good at. Mm-hmm. You don't get distracted with everything. You really focus in. So what we do is we support people in all different styles and how they run their business. We can't just do it one way and say, all of you are going to be social media champions. No, most of them aren't. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
But some of them may be cold callers or door knockers. Each of those disciplines, we are going to support that. Some of them, they have to have a minimum level of service, but some of them have a higher level, some of them a medium level. So we got to support each in that. I'll give you an example. Where we got this new, it's not new anymore. 3 years ago, we went to Bold Trail. It used to be called KV Core, a lot of mergers.
Oh, yeah.
Great Bold Trail.
Yeah.
And a small percentage of people were using, like 25% of our agents. Thought, what's going on? Found out it's too complicated, but no one could simplify it. So I decided I'm going to learn this thing. And I learned how to use Bold Trail. And then I created 5 steps that you do every day. It takes you an hour. And if you do those 5 steps, you're going to attract business to you in your website. You're going to work your sphere of influence. You're going to reply to your leads. And you're going to make sure you're working and nurturing your prospects. And it was just 5 steps to do that, to allow them to be successful for those that use the CRM and work their sphere of influence. For social media, we did the same thing. We created formulas to work in social media.
It's so funny. It's not difficult to do the little things. It's 1 hour a day, and you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself success. And I see that all the time with lenders. And I've been doing the same thing since I started almost 10 years ago now. Same exact things that got me started. I had great CRMs in some of the other places, but they weren't what I wanted. I used an old school spreadsheet and every day, and I change colors based on where they're at. If I've communicated with them, if they've done the app, if they're pre-approved, and every day my goal is to change colors. I'm a chameleon. I want to be a chameleon. My spreadsheet's a chameleon changing colors. That's all I wanted. That's my goal, and that thing is open. It's right there on my computer screen, and it's not that hard. Every single day. And I happen to learn my CRM with the help of my amazing biz dev person, Jade, who's just a monster with the CRM. But I'm texting, group text. I'm doing all sorts of stuff with that. The fact that you're able to do that to different strengths is so important. So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
All right. You're local. it's very difficult for locals to buy property in Oahu. What do you see as obviously the challenges, inventory, affordability, but how do we keep locals in Hawaii?
I'm going to give them multiple solutions, and they all have to come together. They can't be just one.
Yeah.
First is we do have to build more housing. We need more supply, and that means we have to find solutions to find the land and rezone the land, or find opportunities, not just build up, but build across too. Because some people don't want to live up; they don't want to live in a condo. Second, we have to make it easier for developers to get through that process. They're adding all these expenses they're going to pass on to the consumer.
Yep.
If it takes 10 years to come to market, and that's what it takes. And that's part of the process of getting through the state and county permitting process and everything that everyone has to go through. Last one, and this is the hardest one, and people probably won't expect this, but I've seen it over and over again. Us as local buyers, especially first time, we have to look long term, and we have to be willing to sacrifice now for what we're going to get in the future. Let's say a family of 4 want to live they can rent a 4-bedroom for $500 less than what they can buy a 3-bedroom for, and they have to travel in traffic an extra 20 minutes each way a day. But if you do that, you can own and start paying yourself. Because if you continue to rent and live in that 4-bedroom and be comfortable, you're never going to get that benefit of building generational wealth, living your life where you want. And you probably heard this, but I want to say it because you're a lender, and I think you'll see eye to eye on this one. For those people, they say, well, I'm going to wait for the rate to go down, or they're saying, no, I just don't want to change my life. I always tell them, well, if you do that, that means you're paying 100% of your rent to the landlord.
You're paying his mortgage.
If you pay a mortgage and buy instead, let's say it's a horrible rate in today's world. It's 9%, which would be bad in today's world. I don't know. Math's maybe not my best suit, but 9% is lower than 100%.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I always ask, how long people, it's too expensive now. Rates are too high. Okay, where are you going to be in 5 years? Mm-hmm. If you're going to be here in 5 years, or you want to be here, do you think prices are going to be cheaper in 5 years? And if rates come down, do you think you're going to have a lot more? You're going to be paying a lot more for this home? Yeah. It doesn't matter what the rate is. The rate could be lower, but you're still paying more. The key is to get in now, especially if you're going to, because in 5 years, you're going, and especially if you're buying conventional, you're going to need 5% of 500,000 is 25,000. Well, now it's 600,000. Well, now you need 30,000. You're going to be playing catch up forever. And you get into the home, you make it yours, you sacrifice a little bit. Everyone's got to. People don't want to sacrifice. We want instant gratification. I don't know. You're not eating. I won't talk about food, but it's like going to the microwave. We're like go to the microwave and we put something in for 2 minutes, like popcorn. And we're like standing in front of the microwave, like, hurry up. You got 3 minutes, man. Just, you got to sacrifice. You got to wait. We want instant gratification. Get in the home now, and it will help you get that bigger home later. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize. When I tell them where you're going to be in 5 years or where you're going to be in 10 years, they're like, yeah, you're right. I might as well buy now. I'm like, yeah, you will, because guess what? Rates are high, but you can refinance later. Mm-hmm. And your payment's going to go down. And maybe you decide to rent that house out. Well, guess what? What is not going to go down, especially in Oahu? Rent. Rent is not going down. It's only going to go up. I mean, I have a house that I rent. It's a 4-bedroom on a golf course. I've been renting it out for 6 years now. And I've raised the rent from $4,500. I'm not a slumlord. It's a really nice home. To $5,500 a month. And it's never ever been vacant. And matter of fact, the first time I raised the rent to $4,800, I put it on like Facebook Marketplace. I think I just put it in the Facebook channel in my neighborhood. Same day, we want it. I'm like, damn it, I should have raised the rent higher. But it's difficult to rent here. Get in now. Now you have an asset that you can help to build your legacy, whether it's in that next home or as passive income in the future, but it's not going to happen overnight. And a lot of people also, I think it's going to, 2 years. I want to return my return in investment on 2 years. And we both know that's, if we have COVID-like numbers or 2005 numbers, yeah, you will, but that's not realistic. You got to have that long-term horizon. Again, you're local, Kamehameha Schools. How do you bring your just your culture into the room?
Let's use a word that's probably overused, and that's aloha. And aloha and caring for the people here and for the people that transplant here. Mm-hmm. And what that means is if someone wants to buy a house, if someone wants to sell a house, it's life-changing short-term and long-term. So bringing the aloha to care for them enough to say, let's talk about your life. Let's talk about what your future is. Just like you said, what are you going to do in 5 years? And then find a way no matter what. Find a path no matter what. There is a loan in a window of time for everybody to finance and get a house. You know that. You give them those loans. There is a path for everyone. We just have to find it, and we have to care about the people enough to make sure that happens. It's not about the transaction now. It's about the journey to get people there. Because what we do today usually doesn't come to fruition or help other people until sometime down the road. So we've got to keep planting the seeds over and over again.
Well, awesome. Well, I tell you what, I think you've really hit the nail on the head when we talk about, move with Mana, build Ohana, represent, and you have represented in this industry, for Kamehameha Schools, for your family, just the excellence truly across the board. And it's been an honor to have you on the set today. I wish you all the best, my friend, and we'll see you out there. I'll see you at Core Power.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to In Search of Excellence Island Style. Stay connected for more conversations with leaders raising the standard through purpose, values, and aloha.